News with George.
Hi, and welcome to the very first weekly news recap, in which I will be recapping the news of the week starting the 8th of November and ending on the 14th of November, so Sunday to Saturday. I've decided to keep it short and simple, that I will only be discussing 4 to 5 pieces of news each day, and if there's any news that you think, it should have been included, please send me an email. And I hope you enjoy and you learn something about the news.
Sunday, the 8th of November.
Sunday, the 8th of November. Quite a lot of news happened, but here's a quick recap. Firstly, the army chief of Ethiopia has been fired as fighting in the Tigray region continues. The prime minister announced the reshuffle on Twitter without suggesting any reasons. 2 weeks ago, on Wednesday, long-standing tensions between the central government and the local administration in Tigray boiled over into clashes. It has been reported that there are dozens of casualties, and it has also been reported that there will most likely be more airstrikes, and that these clashes in the Tigray region will eventually roll over into a kind of civil war, an Ethiopian civil war. Also, on Sunday, it was announced that the Jeopardy host Alex Trebek died after he had a battle with cancer. He was 80 years old. On Twitter, the official Jeopardy account confirmed the news and added that he was surrounded by friends and family as he died at home in the early morning. The executive producer of Jeopardy, Mike Richards, described Trebek's death as an enormous loss for the show in a statement released on Sunday. He said it was an incredible honor to be working beside Trebek in the past 2 years and a half, as the host continued to work on the show despite his diagnosis with cancer. Another thing that happened on Sunday, the fact that it has been announced that stolen Alan Turing items will be returned to the UK after Julia Turing, who is not related to Alan Turing, had brought them to her home in the US. Among the 17 items to be returned is his miniature OBE medal, which was taken from Dorset's Sherborne School in 1984. According to court papers and the Sherborne School, Miss Turing took the items without permission from archives given to the school in 1965 by the family in memory of his time as a pupil there. Miss Turing attempted to loan the items to the University of Colorado, claiming to be related to the mathematician, after which the police carried out an investigation and found the items at her home in Conifer. After a short civil court case in the US, it was decided that they should be returned to where they belong. Another thing that happened on Sunday was a hero. This is what a brave dad has been hailed after he saved the lives of 6 people in a miracle rescue by pulling them out of the water after they were knocked from rocks by a wave. The man, Kevin Viles, was taking a walk with his family when he saw a group floundering in the sea. He successfully rescued 6 members of the same family after he sprang into action, including young children who had been swept away by a huge wave. Kevin pulled them from the water at Gwythian, Cornwall, and helped resuscitate one of them before the emergency services arrived. A St. Louis couple who were facing felony charges for waving their guns at BLM protesters have filed a lawsuit against photographer Bill Greenblatt and United Press International on Sunday. The United Press International made the photo available for publication. The couple is also suing Redbubble, an online marketplace for print-on-demand products that has allowed merchandise of the couple on their website. Mr. Greenblatt took a picture of the couple waving their guns at BLM protesters. Even though photographers can take photos on public rights-of-way, the couple argued that because the street is private, the protesters and Mr. Greenblatt were trespassing. They argued in the lawsuit that the photo led to significant national recognition and infamy after the photo went viral. A good thing that happened on Sunday was the 20-year-old American Chris Nikic has become the first person in the world with Down syndrome who has completed the Ironman triathlon. He arrived Sunday morning at the finish at the Panama Beach in Florida, the organization reported on Twitter. The Ironman is a sports event that is composed of 3.86 kilometers swimming, 180 kilometers cycling, and running the marathon distance of 42 kilometers. Nikic is the first person with Down who made the finish. On his Instagram page, he has said that he fell once and cut his knee, that this didn't stop him from continuing. The idea to participate in the Ironman triathlon is part of his 1% Better challenge, in which he tries to improve himself every day by 1%. He wants to inspire others to do this challenge because, according to him, anything is possible if you do this.
Monday, the 9th of November.
A quick rundown of everything that happened on Monday. On Monday, Azerbaijan forces shot down a Russian helicopter. 2 of the passengers have died. A third has gotten injured. Azerbaijan has claimed responsibility and has apologized to Moscow. Allegedly, it was an accident. The Mi-24 helicopter crashed near Nakhchivan, an Azerbaijani enclave surrounded by Armenia, Turkey, and Iran. The Russian Ministry of Defense emphasized that the helicopter was outside the conflict area. The helicopter was assisting a military convoy, but details about the convoy weren't given. Around 150 kilometers of where the helicopter crashed, Russia has quite a large military base. On Monday morning, listeners of the Dutch local radio station Los in Den Helder were live witnesses of an accident. A car rammed the radio studio whilst they were busy with their news broadcast. The accident caused quite a lot of damage. The radio studio was littered with lots of glass, and the windowsill was completely broken. The radio presenter didn't even see it happening. He said to NH News, "I was presenting the news, and suddenly there was a lot of noise." He decided not to continue and immediately started to play a song with the words, "Let's see what happened." It turned out the studio was rammed by an 82-year-old man who was driving backwards and wanted to brake but instead accelerated. On Monday, scientists said initial trial results for Pfizer and BioNTech's vaccine for the coronavirus far outpaced their expectations for protection against a completely new disease. However, there are still many unanswered questions. The makers of the vaccine said it was more than 19% effective at preventing COVID-19. This claim was based on data from the first 94 people in the trial to become infected with the coronavirus. The efficacy rate means that most infections occurred among people who received a placebo rather than the actual vaccine. Another thing that happened on Monday was that McDonald's decided to debut a line of plant-based meat alternatives called McPlant in 2021, including a patty that Beyond Meat subsequently said it helped co-create. Shares of Beyond Meat initially fell as much as 8% after the announcement, but recovered to end 4% lower after the plant-based meat company said it had a role in creating the McPlant patty. McDonald's said under its McPlant line, it could offer products including burgers, chicken substitutes, and breakfast sandwiches, which it expects to test in some markets in 2021.
Tuesday, the 10th of November.
A quick rundown of Tuesday, the 9th of November. The police thought that they found a weed farm in Geleen, the Netherlands, and investigated a house on Tuesday. However, in the house there were no weed plants, but buckets full of chicory. The police received an anonymous tip about hemp cultivation, and when measurements indicated that there was possible electricity being stolen, the cops visited the house. The confused house owner let the police look everywhere. In the basement, one of the cops thought they found a weed farm. A wooden construction was made that gave way to a small crawl space. He removed the plank, but didn't see any hemp plants. Much to his surprise, there were buckets full of chicory in black dirt. The man of the house bred chicory as a hobby, but his wife forgot to mention that. A special discovery for the agents, the police wrote on Facebook. Up until Tuesday, if you were bored and wanted to change the lights of the Erasmus Bridge in Rotterdam, you were able to, without the government finding out. The system that they used to control the lights was not protected with a password, a curious citizen found out. In a video from the regional broadcaster Rijnmond from last year, it was visible how an administrator changed the colors of the bridge with his tablet. They do this a couple times a year, for example, during Remembrance Day, Liberation Day, King's Day. After a man saw this video, he looked up on internet the system behind the lights and found out he could just enter it without a password. The Rotterdammer reported his discovery to tech journalist Daniel Verlaan from RTL News. You could just visit the system from your internet browser, Verlaan has said to Rijnmond. If you pressed a button, the entire bridge was changed within a second. I was very surprised this was possible. The Council of Rotterdam has since made sure the system is more secure. Greg Clark has resigned as English Football Association chairman hours after referring to coloured footballers during questions from members on Parliament on Tuesday. He was widely criticised after making a series of inappropriate comments while taking questions from the Digital, Culture, Media and Sport Select Committee. The FA has confirmed the news that he is stepping down in a statement. Formal antitrust charges have been unveiled by the EU against Amazon for abusing its dominance in online shopping and opened a second investigation into the company's business practices. The European Commission's top antitrust official accused Amazon on Tuesday of illegally abusing its dominant position as an online marketplace in Germany and France, the biggest markets in the European Union for the company. A formal investigation into Amazon in July 2019 to probe its dual role as marketplace and retailer revealed that Amazon feeds non-public seller data such as number of products ordered and the seller's revenues into its own retail algorithms to help decide which products to launch and the price of each new offer, the EU said on Tuesday. The EU may fine Amazon when the results of a second investigation is revealed. On Tuesday, Armenia and Azerbaijan agreed to halt fighting over the separatist regions and showed signs that the ceasefire would hold where others hadn't. The truce came after significant advances by Azerbaijani forces that the Armenian-backed leader of Nagorno-Karabakh said it made impossible for his side to carry on. It was celebrated in Azerbaijan, but left Armenians bitter, and many stormed government buildings overnight, demanding parliament invalidate the agreement. For Russia, the truce, if it lasts, could be a major diplomatic coup, which appears to have brokered a deal where others failed and was in a tight spot considering it has ties on both sides.
Wednesday the 11th of November.
What happened on Wednesday? Well, let's see. Firstly, on Wednesday, the Hungarian government announced that they want a new law to be added to the constitution. This law says that only married couples can adopt children. Considering in Hungary, marriage is only allowed between between a man and a woman, this law essentially bans same-sex couples from being able to adopt children. Single people should be able to adopt a child if the Ministry of Family Business allows it. In addition, an amendment to the Constitution submitted to Parliament at the same time states that children should be raised with the Christian conception of female and male roles. The conservative government of Orban says that the law suggestions are meant to strengthen the rights of children who are going through adoption. According to the largest LGBTI interest group in Hungary, it is no coincidence that the government is coming up with a proposal right now. On Wednesday, strict corona measures are in effect in Hungary. The proposals are being submitted at a time when demonstrations are not allowed, said the Hatter Society. The International Cycling Union, UCI, has suspended Dylan Groenewegen for 9 months. The Dutch sprinter from Jumbo-Visma has accepted the penalty. Groenewegen crossed his line too much during the opening stage in the Tour of Poland on the 6th of August of this year, resulting in a serious crash. In that crash, Fabio Jacobsen and Groenewegen, among others, went to the ground. Jacobsen was kept in a coma for 2 days after his fall. His face was shattered, but all vital organs were intact. He is still recovering and hopes to get back on the bike for training soon. Groenewegen broke his collarbone and was immediately put on hold by his team.
Please take a look at my cute doggies whilst I quickly regain my words that I have lost.
On Wednesday, the Dutch government ordered a lot of new security regulations for telecom providers, including rules on equipment and software suppliers, and a requirement making sure only people who have had background checks to be given access to networks. The requirements are part of a series of moves to strengthen standards after an assessment in 2019 of the risks posed by China and other countries identified as having an offensive cyber strategy. In a ministerial decree, Junior Economic Affairs Minister Mona Keizer also specified that telecoms provider must retain network data for at least 3 months in case it is needed to analyze advanced threats and attack vectors. The Dutch government said last year vendors of 5G networks could be excluded if they have close ties to foreign governments involved in spying. The remains found after the salvage of a German warplane in Dalfsen in the Netherlands are the remains of 20-year-old German pilot Otto Tillak. The Dutch Ministry of Defense reported on Wednesday that his recognition plate was found. The non-commissioned officer took off from Volkel on January 30th, 1944, and ended up in a dogfight with Allied aircraft in the vicinity of Zwolle. The 20-year-old pilot crashed in a meadow in the hamlet of Millingen near Dalfsen. Due to the high speed, the aircraft crashed into the ground at great depth. Only part of the tail protruded above the ground. This part was removed by German troops shortly after the crash, said the Dutch Ministry of Defense. The German authorities have been informed of the identification. The remains of the man will be buried in a cemetery for German soldiers killed in northern Limburg. An attempt will be made to trace the relatives of Tillak for this purpose. If you are a huge fan of Roblox, you might notice that a famous noise is missing. The oof noise that normally accompanies your death in Roblox will temporarily be removed following a copyright dispute. When the noise returns, game makers will have to buy the noise, paying around $1 or 100 in-game currency. The man who originally created the sound for a game released 20 years ago will be compensated. Only the players who create games for the platforms will have to pay for the sound. If you are just playing, there will be no charge. The original creator of the sound told the BBC, "It's amazing to think that such a small sound I did over 20 years ago for for a different video game ended up being one of the most iconic pop culture audio clips of the 21st century. I would hear kids saying it on playgrounds and didn't even realize that they were repeating something I had created over 2 decades ago. It was great that we were able to come to a resolution with Roblox, and they were very accommodating of the situation. It's kind of funny to think that out of all the things I've done over my 32 years in the video game industry, that for a new generation of game players, I'm now just known as the oof guy. It's going to be a big oof for me.
Thursday, the 12th of November.
On Thursday, quite a lot happened. Firstly, former president of Ghana, Jerry Rawlings, who was 73, has died after a short illness. He was the first elected president of the West African country and is considered the driving force behind Ghana's development into a democracy, although initially accompanied by violence. In 1979, as an Air Force officer, he led a successful uprising against the then military rulers. After that, he transferred power to a civilian administration. 2 years later, he staged another coup because he found civilian government ineffectual, especially in terms of its economic policies. Rawlings became the leader of a military-civil administration. Both coups involved the execution of high-ranking soldiers and politicians. "A tree has fallen," said President Akufo-Addo. On December 7th, there will be presidential elections in Ghana. The president has halted his re-election campaign and declared a week of national mourning. According to actor Matthew Perry, there will be a reunion of the Friends series in March. The actor writes on Twitter on Thursday that a busy year is coming for him, and the Friends reunion is being moved to early March. "It looks like we are headed for a busy year, and that's exactly what I love," said Perry, who will play the role of Chandler Bing on the series. It is not clear whether he is referring to the recordings or the broadcast date. The recordings of the reunion would be in the spring, but were postponed due to the coronavirus. A date at the end of the summer was also not met. It is already known that it is not about new episodes of the series, but a special in which the actors look back on the success of the sitcom. The special is broadcasted by HBO Max. According to US media reports, Jennifer Aniston, who plays Rachel, Courtney Cox, who plays Monica, Lisa Kudrow, who plays Phoebe, Matt LeBlanc, who plays Joey, and David Schwimmer, who plays Ross, will receive between $3 to $4 million for their one-time return. Celebrations for DJ Tiesto, 51, and his girlfriend Annika. The two have become parents of daughter Viola Margrethe. The DJ shares the news on his Instagram page on Thursday. "She gives me feelings that I never knew I had in me. Her mother, Annika, is a real champion," writes Dice Vervest, as the DJ is really called. It is the first child for the brand new father and mother. Under the Instagram message, Tiesto is congratulated by other Dutch DJs such as Rehab, Jay Hardway, Danik, and Boss Jackers. Tiesto met his wife in New York in 2015. 27, he proposed to her, and 2 years later, they got married. Eindhoven was one big work of light art on Thursday evening. In fact, the largest light artwork in the world. Glow turned the sky above the city of light blue and a little red. The work of art was made to connect the people of Eindhoven in these tough corona times, but opinions about it are divided. Especially in these times when we cannot visit each other, cannot work, play sports, or go out together in the office, it is more important than ever that we feel connected to each other, says Mayor Jon Jorritsma of Eindhoven about the artwork, for which the municipality and Glow joined forces. Connecting the Dots covers more than 80 square kilometers. A blue sky and red balloons, the dots, dance through it. "We have created a bright spot for each other here," says Glow director Ronald Ramakers. I hope everyone sees it with a smile. Hopeful and magical at the same time. Eindhoven, how beautiful you are, and still a little bit of glow this year are some of the reactions to the artwork. Yet these aren't the only opinions that are heard. Not very special? Was this it? And I don't really see anything is also mentioned. The Glow Light Festival normally attracts more than 750,000 people to Eindhoven every year. A walking route through the city along works of art and installations is not possible this year due to Corona. Glow and the municipality of Eindhoven therefore came up with this. A helicopter which carried members of the multinational peacekeeping force crashed on Thursday near Sharm el-Sheikh in the Sinai Peninsula of Egypt, killing 5 Americans, a French citizen, and a Kazakh citizen. The peacekeeping force said that 1 person had survived and was medically evacuated. Originally, they stated that 8 people had died, including 6 Americans. However, this later turned out to be incorrect. The force, which is known as MFO, is meant to supervise the implementation of the 1979 peace treaty between Egypt and Israel. It consists of 1,154 troops from 13 different countries, including Australia, Britain, Fiji, USA, and Uruguay.
Friday, the 13th of November.
A couple things stood out on Friday. Firstly, on Friday there was a major police operation at the Montreal HQ of Ubisoft. The large police response was triggered by a call which reported a possible hostage situation happening in the buildings which houses the Ubisoft offices. Though the police did not refer to the situation as a hoax, they said that there was no threat detected. However, the police have launched an investigation to investigate the call which was responsible for the massive police deployment. The police operation at the game developer's office building, located at the intersection of Saint Laurent Boulevard and Saint Viateur Avenue, began Friday afternoon. Videos posted to social media showed officers pulling out their weapons and seeking cover behind police cars. Just before 4 p.m., police announced the building was being evacuated and that no threats had been detected. Several ambulances were also on site, but police confirmed no one was injured. Evacuees were taken to a different location and will be meeting with investigators to give their official statements. On Friday, the International Peace Prize was handed out to a 17-year-old Bangladeshi teen for creating an app which helps young people report online abuse. Sadat Rahman, 17, was inspired to create the mobile app after hearing about a 15-year-old girl who took her own life because of bullying. About 1,800 teenagers in his local district have now used the app. Nobel laureate Malala Yousafzai described him as an inspiration. He's calling on young people from all over the world to stop cyberbullying and to help peers in their community who suffer from mental and emotional violence. Sadat is a true change maker, she said in an online speech. The 17-year-old's app, CyberTeens, allows young people to report cyberbullying confidentially through a network of volunteers and approach police or social workers while also educating teenagers about online safety. 3 decades ago, she started as an intern at the Chicago White Sox, and now, after several positions at the top of the American Major League Baseball, 51-year-old Kim Ng can call herself Technical Director of Miami Marlins. A breakthrough in the American sports world because never has a woman held this important position in one of the 4 major professional leagues. She is also the first technical director of American Asian descent. Ng is no stranger to the baseball world. In addition to her internship at the White Sox, she also worked for the New York Yankees, Los Angeles Dodgers, and the MLB, where she was vice chairman for the past 9 years. After years of persistence, it is with the greatest honor of my career to lead the Miami Marlins, said Ng. When I got into this business, it seemed unlikely that a woman would lead a major league team, but I am unyielding in the pursuit of my goals. The authorities in Nigeria have started to crack down on EndSARS protesters, charging prominent supporters of financing terrorism and sanctioning coverage of the recent abuses by security forces. Authorities have suspended the bank accounts of prominent supporters, fined media agencies accused of exaggerated reporting of police abuses, including broadcasting graphic footage of soldiers gunning down protesters in Lagos last month, and conducted arrests of demonstrators. Nigerian authorities appear to have used coercive financial measures to suppress protests against police brutality and independent media reporting, Human Rights Watch said in a report published Friday. On Friday, the most powerful advisor to Boris Johnson, Dominic Cummings, announced he will stop working for Downing Street mid-December, as Johnson is trying to reset his premiership after a series of failures in tackling the coronavirus pandemic. Many media outlets such as BBC, Sky News, and others reported that Cummings has left his role for good, abruptly reducing Brexit hardliners in Johnson's government. Although Number 10 has said that Cummings would continue to work for Johnson until mid-December, although unclear in what capacity and whether he would return to the building.
Saturday, the 14th of November.
A couple things happened on Saturday. Let's see what happened on Saturday. Firstly, a police investigation was underway on Saturday after workmen discovered possible human bones on a building site in Halem, Newark on Friday afternoon. A cordon is in place in Black Lane whilst forensics and archaeological examinations are carried out. The aforesaid inquiries will include whether the site is connected to a nearby church burial ground. In Washington, tens of thousands of people have demonstrated on Saturday in favor of President Trump and against the proclamation of Joe Biden as the winner of the presidential election. Demonstrations were also held in other American cities by citizens who believed that elections were fraudulent, including Lansing, Michigan, and Salem, Oregon. There is no evidence of fraud. The demonstration started at noon local time at Freedom Plaza. From there it went to the Supreme Court and the participants dispersed. An hour and a half before the start of the march, Trump drove an escort of security guards past hundreds of enthusiastic supporters who had already gathered in the city center. The vast majority of these did not wear a face mask. In Saqqara, Egypt, archaeologists have found at least 100 ancient sarcophagi and 14 gilded statues. Some of the sealed sarcophagi contain well-preserved mummies. Archaeologists suspect that the sarcophagi and statues were buried in the necropolis, or city of the dead, about 2,500 years ago. The objects discovered probably date back to the Ptolemaic dynasty, which ruled Egypt for at least 300 years. To investigate how the bodies were preserved, researchers took x-rays of the mummies. The colorfully decorated finds are temporarily exhibited at the base of Djoser's famous step pyramid in Saqqara. They will then be divided among 3 Egyptian museums. The responsible Egyptian minister has said. Supporters and opponents of abortion demonstrated for an hour in The Hague Saturday morning. At 11 a.m., about 50 people, including children, gathered at the Hofvijver for the March for Life, an initiative of several Christian organizations. The March for Life has been held in November for 28 years. Last year, about 10,000 people walked through the center of Utrecht. As a result of the corona measures, this time it remained a short walk around the Hofvijver. The initiators called for an end to abortion treatment and euthanasia in the Netherlands. The demonstration was streamed online by the Scream for Life Foundation. At the same time, about 100 people demonstrated a little further on at the House of Representatives for the right of women to be able to continue to make their own decisions about abortion. This right, called pro-choice after the American example, has been laid down in the Termination of Pregnancy Act in the Netherlands since 1984. During the counter-demonstration, attention was also drawn to the situation in Poland. There, the judge recently banned abortion in the case of abnormalities in the unborn child. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, possibly learned something. If you're interested in the sources I used throughout this video to find out about the things happening, I placed a link down below to my website where you can find all of the sources I used. Subscribe, share, like, comment, share it. Definitely share it. Make sure all your friends, all your family see it. Make sure everyone sees it. For the rest, have a nice week, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.